Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this video. That's it. So this video is something different. I'm like telling a story before it happens, but also going to tell a story that has already happened. So there's two things here. First thing we're going to talk about is why I'm making this video, and that is because there is a BuzzFeed article that is coming out as this video is posting. I'm going to try and synchronize this video with that article. If you just want more explanation of what happened, this is that video. And then the second point is I got, I guess, a tip, essentially, from someone that was like, Kent, you need to make more videos about stories that only you can tell. So I wanted to do everything I could to tell those stories as creatively as I possibly could. This is that way. This article has been quite a roller coaster. The actual article itself happening, that was great. Working with Alex, the writer, and just being able to tell my story like that has been really, really nice. They've been so generous to me, and I'm very grateful to everyone over there. I posted my If Kent Can, which is my show on this channel, all about the dark web of social media. And now, what I ended up leaving in was about a 20-minute episode, but actually could have been 30 or 40 minutes considering all the things I'd cut out. Every time I post a video, I come up with a strategy on how I'm going to market that video. Whether that's the beta program, which a lot of you guys are involved in, whether that's on my Instagram stories, on Twitter, on things like that, and then who I'm going to send that video to as well. There's a few other criteria there that I don't often talk about, but I often send off my video to either mentors or people that I want to see that I think it might be relevant to. This time I happened to send it to not really a contact, someone I really respect at BuzzFeed News, someone who I follow on Twitter, have been following for a while, and I thought that this would be really relevant to them. It turns out it was, and they invited me in. We ended up talking about the entire thing, their minds were blown. I kept coming in, I kept talking to them. Now this was like a couple weeks in, and I told them my entire story, and they're like, we want to write a story about this. And I thought that was really cool, because I'm a small YouTuber, and BuzzFeed wants to write an article about what I'm doing. Of course, literally whatever. And for me, the reason I wanted to make the dark web of social media video in the first place was, one, to kind of like put more interesting content in If Kent Can. I think there's really cool stories that I can tell with this. Now, the story on If Kent Can has been told. We're going to move on to new stories, but this secondary series here, it can live here. And then secondly, obviously I was watching the news, and if you look at kind of what's going on, everyone's talking about social media and like what's going on? Oh, Winston. So clearly, if you've read the article or if you've seen the last If Kent Can, that was on the dark web of social media and how there is a major amount of platform manipulation that goes on right beneath all these social media platforms' noses. Now, before you label me as some sort of crazy hacker, some sort of scary person, my name is Kent, I'm 22 years old. I figured all of these things out of pure necessity. I was a content creator, just like a lot of you, or maybe not like a lot of you, but a lot of people you watch. I decided I needed to take a break from social media. The reason I needed to take a break was because I was daily vlogging, and I daily vlogged for about 3 years straight, and that was taxing. You know, waking up every day to make another video, to edit another video, to think about content distribution, to think about being a content creator while in college, while trying to get good grades, while trying to do all that. Well, it didn't work. I ended up dropping out, but like it still was kind of a crazy thing. But what it led me to was totally worth it. I think it grew this amazing love-hate relationship with social media inside of me. I obviously love social media because it is what my entire life has kind of been built on. I grew up on social media. My work right now is based around social media. My side projects are all social media based. I am a social media consultant. I do all kinds of social media work all day, every day. Now let's think about that. We all know if you stop posting on social media, the algorithm will punish you. And I face that very, very hard. I face that head on. Now, stay tuned. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to why that's important. But social media hurt me in a way that I'd never really experienced before. I saw the way it was affecting small businesses and how I was learning different ways of doing social media, but everyone else was still trying to do it a certain way. And I find myself very closely tied to like the wedding industry and small business industry, and seeing these people on social media and them being frustrated at why it wasn't working was really frustrating for me because I knew why it wasn't working. And then seeing small creators like myself and then seeing large creators either doing these things or not doing these things, it's even more frustrating because you see the winners win and you see the people who aren't doing it lose. And that sucks. The thing that frustrates me the most is the way I've seen social media affect kids. When I was growing up, I didn't have social media until about middle school or high school. And even then, it immediately turned into, whether we like it or not, whether the kids who are watching this that I went to school with or not wanted to say this, it was a competition. It was immediately a game we were all playing. It was immediately another way to rank kids socially, whether we like it or not. Now, we obviously want to say not, but come on. And now that has seeped all the way down into elementary school. That is infuriating, especially knowing what I know now. So that's why I want to talk about what I know now, and I want to tell these stories that no one else can tell. So let me tell my story. You ever heard of a social media bot? Well, I use them, and I make them, and I host them, and I sell them. And before you get all scared about what a social media bot is, whether you think I'm a Russian hacker or some sort of scary dude, I need to explain why. See, you don't use social media bots to really grow that quickly, and that's one of the biggest misconceptions. So I made this really wonderful animation, I really hope you enjoy it, but I use this to explain why it's important, but no, it was used for me to get my followers back. Essentially, for me not posting all that often, Instagram punished me. But when I started doing this, it brought all of those people back and more. So I guess why don't we just take a look at this. So you want to know how a bot works? Let's talk about my account. When I was logging, I received anywhere from 700 to 1500 likes a post, but then I stopped logging. And my average of, say, 1000 likes went all the way down to 300. And this was my own fault. When you start posting less and less and less, Instagram punishes you. So I took Instagram into my own hands. So I'd heard about these public bots, but you had to give them your username and password and actually log into your account. And I was not about that. So instead of using a public bot like Fuelgram here, I made my own, and it was called the Antisocial Friends Club. But how did I make it, you may ask? I googled how to make an Instagram bot, and then naturally ironed it onto a sweatshirt. So after a quick Google search, I found this one on GitHub. I installed it on my Raspberry Pi, I plugged it in, and bot. Well, kinda, not really. That's not really how it runs, but to beat Instagram, I needed to trick their algorithm. With accounts. Lots and lots of accounts. So what would happen is the moment I would post a photo, all of these accounts that I controlled through the bot would swarm like bees, making my post go from 0 to anywhere from 200 to 300 likes within about 10 seconds. I know, Mark, right? Which really tricked Instagram. Then instead of my posts getting lost in the feed, it would just sit right at the top, and all of your posts would slide down beneath it, making my 11.1k followers give me an average of 3,000 likes a photo. I know, Mark, right? That's 27% engagement. That's massive. Take Kim Kardashian, for example. That's 1%, Kim. So imagine this on a larger scale. I did that, and these are all my clients, but that's a story for another time. Now, I am curious to know if you thought that that was cool or not, because I worked really hard on that. It took like 6 hours, but like, it's fine. So there are a few things I need to clear up that I didn't quite cover. For example, where did I get these accounts? These are accounts I bought in a spreadsheet on Telegram. Telegram is where the dark web stuff goes down. I bought about, I think, 50,000 some accounts, kind of like that, like in a legit spreadsheet. And it just has username, password, and location of last login. Now, the reason I wanted to make my own bot was so that I could literally run right back there behind me and localize all of it to San Francisco instead of Russia or Ukraine or where the normal bots kind of go down. And the reason I wanted to do that was kind of fly a little more under the radar. I could control how many accounts I wanted liking, because some bots will just hit you with tens of thousands of likes and Instagram will be like, hi, no. But whereas with mine, it was in San Francisco and it was like a couple hundred, and that really doesn't flag anything when it's just a kind of smaller, low-key amount. Now, there's also another thing I did there, which is leasing some accounts, and I would reach out to some friends and I'd be like, hi, could I buy your username and password? Not necessarily to have your account. You can still run it and do your thing. I just want to use it so that my clients that I would run this bot for wouldn't actually have to put their account into the bot. I would put someone else's account in, and then it would just benefit whoever my client was at the time. Now this was really cool because it would just make my clients completely separate from the entire process. And it would allow me to bring in much bigger accounts. So most of the accounts were between, I think, 100 and 10,000 followers on this account, and some were above 50, some were above 100,000, some were above 1 million. And I think there was like 2 accounts above 1 million on this entire spreadsheet, but you get the point. The larger the accounts, normally the more priority Instagram would give that post. So when all of those little dots come over and attack the post, if those are big accounts, which I ended up making them be, more important Instagram would think that post was, and the higher it would just kick it up your feed. Kind of crazy, right? You know, the hashtag blank blank is over party seems to be a popular thing that pops up all the time. I've caught most of those creators doing this because it just keeps their posts relevant to whoever follows them. So even if they have 100,000 people that hate them over here, they still have a couple million followers here, and if you can send their post to those people, it doesn't matter what you say, they will still be famous. That's just how that works. You can just play these algorithms. Think of it like that. We're not controlling a sea of an audience just randomly scattered. Everything is targeted, everything is very intentional. And if you look at social media in that way, you can just learn to play it like a game it is. It sucks, but it is what it is. Now, if you're wondering as a creative, why did I use the bot? Well, 2 things. I use the bot because it genuinely brought my account back from the grave. My Instagram account is currently doing better than most Instagram accounts I know. Clearly, 27% engagement is insane. Now, if you're gonna be like, oh my god, but you use bots, you're a cheater, sure, that's like totally fine. And my excuse would be so does everyone else, and that's really not fine. But I could just turn it off at any point and it would do the same amount. And I have, actually. If you go look at my past posts, scroll through it, it's legit. But here's the thing. I use my account, the Kentersting account, because it's verified, to push the limit. I just love making these videos. That is my proof that this is my hobby. I have no intentions here. The reason I push so hard with Kentersting and just try and break it is because I want to see what will happen when it goes too far. What will happen when I send too many likes? What will happen when someone catches on? What will happen? No one's really experienced that. No one has gone through a huge scandal with using a bot because no one really knows except for me and, well, now BuzzFeed. But, you know, I mean, I have used this bot for like serious growth, and that does work too, but that's a little more kind of sketchy. The point of bots is the same point as clever advertising. It's the same as being a marketing company. It is to get my message in front of you, or my client's message in front of you. It was for sure a wild world, and I'm kind of glad that the reason I'm telling this story is so that it can kind of come to a close. And that's not necessarily all the way true. There's still a lot of these things that I'm going to do because obviously I have acquired an unbelievable amount of knowledge from this. Now, I am still taking on clients. I did talk about the website that all that is done through. I'm gonna say we're probably all in a bunch of hot water right now, so I'm not really taking on any new clients right now, but opening a dialogue with you would be fun. And I'd love to see like what you do, if you've heard of any of these things, like what direction you might want to go in. Please shoot me an email. Like, I'd love to just hear your story. There's always more to be learned, and that's my goal of this. So that's pretty much all I've got for the story time aspect of this video. Let's make something fun. How about it? Funny story, it was actually silent the entire time. Isn't that cool? So before I roll the credits, I want to talk about why I keep making hoodies in every episode. For some reason, it's just like a fun and really easy and quick thing for me to like do to express my style. And I think what's cool is with the world of streetwear, there's no rules, and you can kind of do whatever you want, and whatever is you, that becomes streetwear. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. So for me, this hoodie represents more than just a really poorly sewn and cut out little arrow and some text. This is a story. This hoodie represents a big moment in my life. Whether it actually is big or not, I don't know, because the article has not come out yet and it won't come out for another couple days. My point is, I wanted to just keep doing this because this will cost, I don't know, $11 total to make this. And this is such a special piece, more than the Supreme that I bought last week or any of that other stuff that I have in this entire closet. Oh my God. I love making stuff because that's what I do. I make things. This video was a real culmination of that. So if this is your first video of mine, I hope you choose to subscribe. That would mean a lot to me, and I hope you'd like to stay tuned for more. If you're wanting an update on Kent's 10, which I have briefly touched on, the website is up. There's nothing there yet. Within the next few weeks, we will be launching. The whole premise of Kent's 10 is it is going to be custom pieces like this, but I am going to make only 10 of them. If you, the viewer, you, the subscriber, want to choose to follow that, you have that option. I love the idea of being able to subscribe to a creative or a person or a movement instead of just a brand. If you choose to subscribe to my brain and whatever my brain decides to create, whether that's a hoodie, whether that's a fanny pack, whether that's just a video that'll be free, I don't know. Like, there's all kinds of stuff we can do there. But Kent's 10 will only be 10 items every drop. Also, sorry for the red light. This is a BuzzFeed red. You know, do you get it? Did the whole red thing work? It made sense? Perfect. All right, thanks everyone, bye!